if you think about some of the really key problems or challenges you faced or your team faced when they're building decks or structure charts inside the old tools, can you call out the biggest pain point, the most annoying thing that you found, or the most time consuming thing you found on the legacy platforms before you started this transformation journey?
I'd say the connecting the shapes is, well, actually making the shapes. So one of the really great things is the ability to cycle through and just have it change it. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just great. Um, and then connecting the shapes. So if I want a subsidiary connected to parent, and this is right, one of the things that you all spent an enormous amount of time on to make work for me. We had a training the other day, and when we showed that to our associates and how when a new owner is added, all the lines just automatically move to the right place. And then connecting lines, because your lines just connect like that. They just are one line. Those are the two things that leap to mind. But then I think it's in Quick Start.
And those are, so to jump in there, those are things that you just couldn't imagine happening on, it
Yeah,
just wasn't built for that, because it wasn't built for purpose, right? It's built as a
right.
generic tool. Because to do that inside the older platforms would have been, 20 hours of work on a big diagram. Fast tracking back a little bit, do you remember your very first structure chart of any kind of material size? And do you have
Yeah,
fond memories or painful memories of it?
I remember the first one that I did because a client called me up and needed something. And I just couldn't find an associate quickly enough to do it. It was extremely painful. It was satisfying to be able to do, but it was extremely painful. Whereas
Like
yesterday,
running a marathon, like you're proud that you've done it, but at the same time, you wish you didn't.
I was like, oh wow, I never want to do that again. Whereas yesterday I was on the phone with someone and on a Zoom call actually. And I said, oh, I got to show you this product because they were explaining something to me. And so on Zoom, I then went on to Jigsaw and I showed them and I just said, is this what you're telling me? And it was about a minute and a half to produce 3 tiers of partnerships with a lender and then with someone owning it 2 tiers. And it's just like that. I think they're going to be calling you this.
I love to hear that, because that's something you just can't imagine doing 5, 10 years ago, because the
No.
programs didn't exist to do it.
With Jigsaw right now, it's been, I've talked to the clients about it because they know what I do. These charts are very expensive. So I've been telling them about your company, about the fact that we're doing it to take a burden off our young lawyers and to save them money, to be efficient.
That's
So,
do they respond to that? They want the
oh
quality,
yeah,
but they don't want to pay people whatever the billable rate is for a senior associate to be spending time in legacy products, moving boxes around and lines around.
oh yeah. I had a general counsel tell me point blank, your decks are great, but they're really expensive. Now she continued to pay for them because she realized she needed them, but it was really great because I said, would you email my managing partner and tell her that because that will help me get more budget to engage Jigsaw to to do this.
That's fantastic.
Um,
You're
yeah.
actually using that in a sense to win or retain clients.
Oh,
Because you're showing that
absolutely.
you're investing in technology, and you're getting the same output for fewer hours, and in fact maybe even a better output, because you don't have any slip ups which legacy products might lure you into.
It was a recruitment tool because we're always recruiting. I mean, there are people will argue about how many firms, whether there's 10, 20, 30 law firms, and we're all looking for the best talent coming out of law schools. And so I want to be able to say, look, this is something that's very important to the practice, and the legacy products are very difficult. And you didn't go to these fancy law schools to learn how to work with these legacy products. You went to law school to learn how to be a lawyer. This will allow you to be a lawyer. There's still work to be done, but it allows you to do what you
Proper
want.
work.
Right.
Yeah. And that's in that sense, then on the internal facing side, it's a retention tool for your
Absolutely.
team. And there's issues with burnout and sort of going in-house. And this is a way of saying, look, you're not going to be doing painful legacy tool actions for hours on end at 3 in the morning. You can use Jigsaw and do it in, we said, 1.5 minutes.
Right.
I think you once said to me, every day without Jigsaw inflicts pain in our associates and costs our clients money.
Yeah.
What advice would you give for firms who are hesitant or trying to get what you did, the buy-in from other partners or procurement teams to adopt new technology?
Well, one thing is I would point to some of the firms that are making the move. This last week, we had a training session with some of your folks. And at the training session, I told the associates that I never wanted to receive a deck in anything other than Jigsaw. But to me, people's hesitancy to learn a new technology is like one of my kids who was riding a scooter around my neighborhood. And my wife kept saying, you should learn to ride an e-bike. You'll get around more quickly. And the reaction was, yeah, but I know how to use the scooter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the difference. And it's more, quite frankly, the difference between the legacy products and Jigsaw, it's more than that. And so I think it's not that expensive in the scheme of a budget of a major law firm. It's not that expensive, and clients expect it, the associates expect it. And I don't mean to sound melodramatic about it all, but it's just respectful for the people we work with. Give them the best tools that the tools they need. And the reaction from our associates after the training was, wow, I had no idea that Jigsaw could do all those things.